This is 21 Questions. It's a trivia podcast. I'm glad you're here. Let's go. Question 1. Who sang the 1985 song Running Up That Hill that had a massive resurgence a few years back thanks to the show Stranger Things? That's Kate Bush. Fun fact, it was a bigger hit the second time around for Kate. It went to number 3 in 1985 and it went all the way to number 1 in 2022. Question 2. In 1987, which controversial boxer was credited with saying, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face"? That was Mike Tyson, who said it before a big boxing match. Now, the actual quote, the thing that he actually said was, "Everybody has plans until they get hit for the first time." But over the years, the media have kind of made it more interesting by adding the punch in the face part. Anyway, question 3. If you're listening to K-pop music, what country are the singers or the band from? They're from Korea, because Korea starts with K. We can all agree on that. And there's lots of singers from Korea having a very good career. Sorry, I'll see myself out. Question 4 is always a true or false in this podcast. Here we go, true or false. Oh, it's a player question from Alison from Brighton, but Alison doesn't say which Brighton. Here's the thing. Google says there are 48 different Brightons across 11 different countries in the world. There's a Brighton in Brisbane, not too far from where I am. There's one in Melbourne. Which one are you at, Alison? Like, it doesn't really matter, but I like to picture my listeners, like, not in a creepy way, just to know, oh, I wonder what you're doing when you listen to this podcast kind of way. And what you're wearing. That's a joke. That is just a joke. Anyway, look, let's move on. This is an awkward area. Alison asks, true or false? The Fosbury flop, as in the high jump technique, is named after Dick Fosbury, who pioneered the technique. Is that true? Is that false? Now, that's actually true, but I would have guessed false because it felt a little bit like I was being set up by Alison. Like, if you send me a question and you put the word dick and flop close together, I'm going to try to do something with that, and it's silly. It's pointless because it's not like they're going to teach people who are trying to learn to do high jump a movement called the floppy dick maneuver. And yet here we are. Let's move on. Question 5. In MASH, was the tent belonging to Hawkeye known as A, the dump, B, the cave, or C, the swamp? In MASH, Hawkeye lived in the swamp with various other people. Question 6. Which ocean is the North Pole located right in the middle of? That would be the Arctic Ocean, and I've been thinking about going there, about visiting the North Pole and going to see Santa about some of the missing Christmas items that he didn't come through on over the years. Yeah, he and I are going to have a talk. Where's my bike? Where's my train set? Fatty. Anyway, question 7. Which 5-letter word beginning with T is the name given to a wide variety of appetizers in Spanish cuisine? That'd be tapas. Gotta love a good tapas bar. After question 7, we do the first clues for the Who Am I. Here we go. Who am I? I was born in Cleveland Heights, Ohio in 1925, and during World War II, I served in the US Navy in the Pacific. After the war, I studied drama and made my Broadway debut in 1953, where I met my future wife, who was an understudy in the same production. I went on to become a Hollywood legend in movies including Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, The Hustler, and Cool Hand Luke. Across my career, I co-starred a number of times with Robert Redford. I mentioned Robert Redford just to rule him out. Basically, by me mentioning him, it's not going to be him. Am I right? You with me? Good. Having said that, any thoughts on who that might be yet? Yes? No? Maybe? All right. More clues after question 14. For now, though, question 8. Which English city's name originates from the ancient Roman name Mamucium? Did you get Manchester out of that? Look, I realise it's a fairly obscure question, but calling it Mamucium is very interesting because I happen to know that Mamucium translates to place of the breast-shaped hill, which is a weird thing to name a hill after. Not to put too fine a point on it, but breasts are very different shapes. I mean, are we even talking a human breast? Is it a male breast? Is it a female breast? It could be a chicken breast. We don't know. In fact, if it is a chicken breast, all these bodybuilders will show up trying to eat it. Anyway, not very clear. I need answers. Question 9. If you suffer from aviatophobia, also known as aviophobia, are you afraid of flying or birds? You're afraid of flying. Question 10 is a player question. Steve from Bundaberg asks, which movie character has been played by both Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp? That'd be Willy Wonka. And a big hello to the people of Bundaberg, especially to the good folk at a company called Macadamias Australia. I was gifted a packet of your honey roasted macadamias, and let me tell you, I am completely addicted. Seriously, people, they are the devil's work. They are delightful. You've got to get on. This is not a sponsored message, but if it was, I wouldn't talk them up any more than I'm going to now for free. In fact, I may pause this recording, get in the car and drive the 4 or 5 hours up to Bundaberg, up the Queensland coast and go get some. They're that good. Well done, Bundaberg. Question 11 is also another true or false. True or false? There are no poisonous snakes native to Great Britain. Is that true? Is that false? That's actually false. The British do have one poisonous snake. It's the adder, a venomous snake, I should say, not poisonous, but it's the adder. Played by Rowan Atkinson, apparently. Anyway, question 12. In tennis, does the US Open, Wimbledon, or the Australian Open have the biggest cash prize for the winner? That's the US Open. US $5 million for both the men and the women's title. Yeah, no, we're not paying that for the Australian Open. No, you win over here, you get a tray of lamingtons, and you'll be lucky to get a bag of those macadamia nuts that I mentioned just a little minute ago. Question 13. At the movies now, have there been 3, 5, or 7 Jurassic Park movies? There have been 7. That seems like a lot. I tapped out after the first one. That was Jurassic Park. That was in 1993. Then there was The Lost World in 97. There was Jurassic Park 3 in 2001. Jurassic World in 15. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in 2018. Jurassic World Dominion in 2022. And Jurassic World Rebirth in 2025. That's just a lot of Jurassics, you know? Surely the original dinosaurs' grandchildren are starring in the movies now, are they? Anyway, question 14. The precise summit point of which mountain marks the international border of China and Nepal? It's Mount Everest. More clues now for the Who Am I. If you remember, American actor, legend of screen, Cool Hand Luke, The Hustler, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Who am I? Across my career, I was nominated for an Oscar 9 times, and I finally won the Academy Award for Best Actor for the 1986 movie The Color of Money, playing an aging version of that same pool shark character from The Hustler, this time co-starring with Tom Cruise. Several years prior to that, I started a company that featured my surname in the name of it, and we made salad dressings and food items, and the profits went to charity. Is that getting a bit clearer now? Have you worked it out? Final clues after question 20. For now, though, question 15, it's another player question, and Scott asks, in the original novel by L. Frank Baum, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, are Dorothy's shoes ruby, silver, or white? Now, I seem to remember reading something about this. I know that they're not ruby. Scott says they're silver. Apparently, they didn't look good on screen, so they changed them to ruby to show off Technicolor. If you remember, The Wizard of Oz is black and white in the beginning, I think right at the end, but it's colour in the middle. Question 16, still at the movies, or at least an actor that's done movies and TV. In which country was Bruce Willis born? Was Bruce Willis born in Germany, America, or Switzerland? Bruce Willis, born in Germany. His real name is actually Walter Willis. Walter Bruce Willis. He dropped the Walter. Question 17. Is Sentosa Island a popular tourist precinct in Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, or Jakarta? Sentosa It's in Singapore. I've been there. It's delightful. Question 18, bit of geography for you now. On which river does the city of Vienna stand? I better give you multiple choice so you can play if you have no idea. Is it the Danube? Is it the Rhine? Or is it the Rhone? It's the Danube. Question 19 on this podcast is always still alive or not so much. I give you a name. You decide if you think that person is still alive or not so much. Today, Chuck Berry, rock and roll pioneer. Think the songs Johnny Be Good, Think You Never Can Tell. Is Chuck Berry still alive or not so much? Look, not so much, but he only died a little while ago in 2017. Is that a little while ago? I suppose when he lived as long as he did, that is quite recent. Anyway, question 20 is always a music question. Which movie star's Eyes did Kim Khan sing about in 1982? And that song was covered by Gwyneth Paltrow in the movie Duets. Taylor Swift has done a cover of it in live shows. Whose eyes are they singing about? That's Betty Davis. She's got Betty Davis eyes. Do you know that one? Final clues now for the Who Am I? American actor, Colour of Money, The Hustler, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, food products, salad dressing. Who am I? Away from the screen, I was a serious, competitive race car driver who finished second at Le Mans and became the oldest winner in a major sanctioned race at the age of 70. When I passed away in 2008, the media wrote me up as one of the last of the great 20th century movie stars. I am Paul who? I'm Paul Newman. Paul Newman, there you go. Beautiful people, that is another episode of 21 Questions done. Thank you for playing, and as always, I would love it if you would comment your score on the comment section of whatever app you're listening or watching this show on. That would just give me a bit of guidance on how the questions are landing with you, if they're too easy, too hard, or just right. Speaking of questions, coming up is episode 100, and this is my personal invitation to you to send me a trivia question for that episode, because episode 100 is going to be made up entirely of questions submitted by you, the listeners. I do this for milestone episodes. We did it for episode 50. We're doing it for episode 100. We'll continue to do that every 50 episodes, I think. So send me a question. Get it to me via Facebook. 21 Questions by Trivia Tribe is the Facebook page, and the logo for that page is the same as the podcast that you're listening to now, so I'm sure you'll find it okay. Send me a question, anything you want. I'll use it in episode 100, and if I don't, I will use it shortly thereafter. As you can see, I'm using 2 or 3 every episode. Beautiful. Thank you very much for listening. I am beyond grateful for your support, and I love that you're enjoying the show. This podcast comes out every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so meet me back here in a couple of days. We'll have another crack at it together. I've been Mike van Acker. I love you. Catch you next time.